Welcome to the Champions of Active Women podcast. In each episode, we share stories and experiences of active female role models and individuals who support the active pursuits of girls and women. Our goal is to encourage and inspire girls and women to be active for a lifetime, to reach their goals, and to break new barriers in sport and life. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative in the Sports Medicine Research Institute at the University of Kentucky. The mission of the Active Women's Health Initiative is to optimize health and promote physical activity and wellness for girls and women across the lifespan. If you enjoy this podcast, you can make a donation to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. Your contribution helps us empower all girls and women to find their inner athlete and become athletes for life. Today, we have a very special episode with guests Cheryl Vanderford and her daughter, Grace. Cheryl is an assistant professor in the University of Kentucky Department of Physician Studies. After graduating from UK's Physician Assistant Program in 2008, she worked in the mental health service at the Lexington Veterans Affairs healthcare system. In 2019, Professor Vanderford returned to her alma mater to teach in the Physician Assistant Program at the University of Kentucky. Cheryl started running at the age of 11 and ran throughout middle school, high school, and college, where she earned a scholarship to run cross-country at Transylvania University. Cheryl continues to run as a way to stay healthy, provide stress relief, and to be a role model for her children. Cheryl shared a love of running with her daughter, Grace, who is in 4th grade and recently joined a Girls on the Run team. Grace also loves playing soccer and is looking forward to learning how to ride a horse. Today, Cheryl and Grace will talk about why they love being active, ways they get moving together, and their tips for other families who want to be active. So Cheryl and Grace, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
I am so excited about this episode. It is one of the few we've done with multiple people, only the second that we've done with a mom and daughter. And Grace, you are our youngest person ever to be on the show. So I'm super excited to have you guys here today. So Grace, to get us started, could you just talk to us about what your favorite ways to be active are?
Well, I have several ways. I really like soccer. I started when I was like 4, and I really enjoy soccer. I also have done some gymnastics in the past, which is also really fun. And like I mentioned before, Girls on the Run, which at the end of the year we did run a 5K, so that was really fun, and I did it with her.
So what do you love so much about soccer and the other ways that you stay active?
What I love about soccer is I don't really know, but I think it's about just I can run around and kick a ball and kind of just be around people and my team and play it together and kind of like celebrate each goal. And what I like about gymnastics is I think that it's kind of cool to be able to know like these tricks. Like my favorite event on gymnastics is the bars. I think it's really cool, but I wouldn't say it's the hardest. I would say for the beam is the hardest for me. But yeah, I just think that's cool doing like tricks on the bar and stuff. And for running, I just like to run.
That's awesome. It is. It's in her genes. And Cheryl, could you talk a little bit about your favorite activities? And I know running's on that list for you.
Yeah, so my favorite activities have anything to do around running. Started running when I was 11 years old, which it's hard to believe that she is a year from 11 years old. So that's whenever I started. And it was something that I was encouraged to not be necessarily in the books all the time when I was in middle school. So I was asked to find something that I would enjoy doing outside of school. My best friend ran, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool, so I'll try it out too. And so that carried through middle school, high school, and college. And I still do it. I did it yesterday. Anything that has to do with running. So she's not old enough to do ultimate frisbee yet, but that's one thing I hope maybe someday we can do together. Ultimate frisbee is really fun too.
So Grace mentioned that you ran a 5K together as part of the Girls on the Run program. Can you guys tell me about that experience?
So it was on a it had several hills, I would say, which this is probably hard to imagine for some people, but I do enjoy running hills. I enjoy running up the hill and then kind of just letting my body rest by just going down. Yeah, we ran, and something that kind of confused me, which is kind of funny looking back at, and she explained it to me at the time, is why did they give us so little water during the race?
You felt like you needed some more water to keep going?
Yeah, she explained that so that your stomach doesn't start hurting.
Yeah. So what was it like to do the race together, Cheryl, for you?
Oh, it was definitely something that I pictured myself doing a very long time ago before I had kids, and it was the very first time that I got to do that. So it was definitely something that was really special to me, and um, something that I think that's really important that I didn't realize how much of an impact that it had upon her. So that was roughly around that was right around Thanksgiving, right? Like in November.
Yeah.
So for Christmas that year, she gave me a drawing that she did all by herself that had her and me both running the race, and her little word cloud said, "You can do anything," and then her little word cloud said, "Thank you." So that was definitely something it's right by my desk at work, and it's something I look at to brighten my day every day.
Special moment around activity that was impactful for both of you, it sounds like.
Definitely.
So on that note, a lot of families maybe want to be active together, but find it difficult for whatever reason, other priorities with school or work. So I'm wondering if you guys could talk about how you prioritize activity in your family and what works for you.
Um, I think that there's several things, including making time in your day to go on a run or something like that. And not just like put it on your things to do, but to actually make time to do it. There's also like finding a right, like obviously I can see how some people don't want to go running in like the snow and ice when everything's just frozen. But making time out of your day, I think, is a really big thing on staying active.
And Grace and I were talking about this part earlier, and she made a really good comment. You talked about picking something that you enjoy doing.
Pick something that you enjoy doing, make it fun for yourself. Don't just do it and then when your body says, hey, I need this, don't just push it to go an extra mile, because that then demotivates your body to do that. So making it fun for yourself is something that it's also important to staying active.
Yeah, I love those points, put it on your to-do list, but also do it is what she's telling us, right? Make sure it gets done. And one of the ways you can do that is finding an activity that you enjoy. So it sounds like for you all that's running and some other ways to stay active, but for other people, maybe it's something different, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think something that's helpful as well is things can look overwhelming if you try to picture yourself just doing 2 hours of a workout or something in one big chunk. And so if you just think about maybe like 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at lunch and 15 minutes in the evening, or your hour in the evening or whatever, if you break it down into more smaller goals, it makes you feel better after you get done, because it's steps towards that ultimate end, fitness.
So does your family have a particular time of the week or of the day when you guys fit it in together, or do you have other strategies that work for you?
So one of the good things that has come out of this pandemic is that we didn't know that the Legacy Trail existed until quarantine. And so we have found a few places on the Legacy Trail that we like to try to do on weekends when the weather is nice for us to go walk together as a family, or you all have scooters and bikes. We've talked about we've got a daddy that's got a birthday really soon, so we can maybe get some family bikes and start doing bicycling, because we've not done that before as a family.
He really wants to.
That's good. The Legacy Trail is an amazing resource we have in the community that, for all kinds of really safe physical activities. So it sounds like you found a local treasure there.
Definitely, we enjoy it, don't we?
Yes.
So what makes it harder? Are there things in your life, days or times, or certain things that make it harder for you guys to be active as a family?
I think that there's several important things, like one, your mental state and wanting to do it, because it's harder for you to go out and take a walk or run when your body doesn't want to do that. There's also other things, like you may need to be in a 2-hour long meeting or an all-day meeting, which makes other responsibilities that you have to do can get in the way of being active.
So I definitely agree. She's my mini me. I think you might have just seen some of that come out there, but motivation can have a lot to do with it. I know that whenever I was on cross country teams and track teams, that we would run in the snow and the rain, and there was no time that you didn't run. And now if the weather is not quite, so nice, that might be a not a motivating factor to go out there and run in the snow or the ice like it used to be. But something I think that she has found, and something that I know that I've found, is that you feel better after you get out there and do it. And so I think that that's something that we both agree upon. Once you get out there and do it, you feel a whole lot better afterwards.
So Cheryl, this one's for you. Oftentimes we hear that parents have a hard time prioritizing themselves once they become parents, and making sure that they can stay active and be healthy and be able to take care of their family members, as well as taking care of themselves. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on those kinds of challenges and or advice for other parents.
I think one of the key pieces that has really helped me is knowing that whenever we have different responsibilities, that can drain our cup, is one way to say it. And so we need to be able to fill our cup in order to be the mom that we're supposed to be, or be the wife that we're supposed to be, or the teacher that we're supposed to be. And so running is one of those ways that I feel like I get re-energized and get my cup filled a little bit more. So I don't feel quite as guilty taking the time to do that, because I know that it'll help me be a better mom for her, or more productive at work. So I think it's important just to realize that the time that you take to do these things, it's not necessarily unproductive time. It's time that'll help you be more productive later. Perspective, all about perspective.
Yep. And I love that metaphor of filling your cup, right? If you need to fill your own cup before you can really take care of others. And that's a good image to go along with that philosophy. So Grace, this one's for you. Many girls your age are starting to kind of move away from being active and aren't as active as they probably should be to stay healthy. So I'm wondering what, why you think some girls are not choosing to be active.
I think that, and I'm not going to say that I don't do this, because there are days and time that I just don't want to.
Me too.
I think that there's two things that can come up on top of my head. One is electronics, like your iPad or your computer, and you kind of just want to stay there and kind of play a game or watch a YouTube video or something like that. And so you choose to stay there instead of going outside and being active. I think that also, I think I've said this before, but some days you just don't feel like going out. So you have to kind of drag yourself out there and go do it.
I love that advice. And when you do have those days, because we all have those days, right? I do this for my job, and there are still a lot of days when I have to drag myself out there. But can you tell me how you feel on a day when you are like, I don't really want to do it today, and you go out and do it anyway?
I think it makes myself feel good to like know that, hey, I did it even though I didn't want to do it, and now I feel a lot better. Because just for me, one reason why I kind of like being active and kind of like, you can be active with someone else or just by yourself. I like doing both, but something that I do when I'm by myself is simply something to clear my mind, like just thinking about something. And normally it's like something that I want to do in the future, or just kind of having a little conversation with myself.
I think you are an incredibly mature young woman who is well ahead of her time in understanding the benefits of physical activity. People are going to think I planted you on this conversation. I gave you some answers here. You are, that's a great response, and a great thing to do while you're being active. So does your family have special traditions or routines that involve physical activity, like, running a race together, taking a walk after dinner? You talked about your walks on the Legacy Trail, but anything else you want to share about special traditions or routines you have around being active?
Well, I can say that I do like something that we like to do at the beach, which we go to Charleston Beach, which is my favorite beach ever. It's so fun. I really enjoy, well, after dinner, there's like a little thing that serves food on like the beach, and like it's on stilts, that has restaurants. So we eat there, and then we go down, take a walk on the beach at this, and just looking at the sunset and feeling the waves on our feet, and it's really nice. And I also enjoy getting in a cold pool and then getting in a warmer pool.
Yeah.
That's always how it goes.
You wouldn't want to do it the other way around. That would be like torture, right?
Yeah.
Something that we started, even though we haven't been able to make it too much of a tradition yet, but hopefully after COVID is back to, everything's back to normal. She ran the Midsummer Nights Run, the fastest kid in town, several years ago, and we wanted to make that like an annual type thing. So that would be a family thing that we could do. And then Girls on the Run, I think that we both really enjoyed that one, to be able to go back and do that.
So it sounds like some of your active times are around good family quality time, either during vacations or the weekends or other just outings that you do together. Do you each have a favorite memory from being active together?
There's a lot. One would be the 5K and being at the beach. So sometimes my dad would take me to go get donuts, and then we would go to this little trail, and we would kind of like go for a walk there or something. It's really fun.
Sounds like some special time.
Most definitely. I think my favorite memory still goes back to the 5K. I always pictured myself being a track coach someday, and that's something that is still on my list at some point whenever she gets to that age. In middle school or high school, if you want to run, not that you have to run track or cross country, but if you want to, but definitely that 5K, running it with her was something that I guess was kind of like a dream come true, to have a little mini me that would run a race with me.
So, being active together, and Cheryl, like you're saying, sharing your love of running with your daughter, why is that so important to you?
So part of the reason it's important to me, I think, is what it has taught me, and I hope that it teaches her the same thing, because I think some things that sports teach us aren't things that are verbally said. It's just stuff that you learn along the way. And one of the things that I struggle with, and that running has kind of helped me with, is that I can't expect myself to be perfect the first time that I try to do something. And so what running taught me was that I still think back to when I first started when I was 11 years old and didn't run very well in my very first race. And so over that summer, I started out at a half a mile, and every 2 days I went up another half a mile, and I got to where I was like running 6 miles by the end of the summer. And I remember the track coach asking, "What in the world did you do over the summer?" Because he could see the improvement. And so it's something that as you practice, you get more confidence with, and it's something that you can look at long term. And running is such an individual sport that I think it helps with confidence there too. So it's something that I kind of hope to pass on to her, that she doesn't have to be perfect the first time that she does anything, that she just needs to do stuff that she enjoys and that makes her happy, and that makes her full of joy, and that sometimes those things don't happen overnight.
Absolutely. All good lessons that we can learn from being active, and certainly in individual sports that are challenging, like running and pushing yourself to go for other distances or faster, or all of those things. So Grace, you, by being active and healthy, you, whether you know it or not, are a role model for other girls, your friends, your classmates, people who are looking to you and say, "Hey, she can do that, so can I." So I'm wondering, what would you want other kids, other girls to know about being active?
I think that I think that it's important to find something to be active. Like, to be active, you need to enjoy doing it to do it more often. So, like, for me, it would be playing sports or something like along the lines of that. And some people don't want to play sports, like play tag or something is like a good way to keep your body like active and you still have fun doing it. And something that I quickly want to point out is someone that was, there's two people that were role models for me that kind of helped me push myself to be a better soccer player. Is one, my friend Stella, that in my school was my friend since second grade, and we are in the same class for third grade. And so, yeah, she played soccer too and wants to be a professional soccer player as she grows up. And I think she can so do that because she's really good. So she's someone that kind of pushed me to go, like, to get better at soccer and keep practicing more. Someone else, someone that I talk to almost regularly is my friend Darla, who is 1 year older than me. And she is a really good soccer player, and yeah, we're really good friends, and she's someone that kind of helped me push myself a little bit more to be a better soccer player, to practice more.
I love that. So not only are you saying, yeah, I could be a role model for other people, but I'm also looking up to these other girls, my friends, who are teaching me to be active and push yourself in your sport. I love that. So tell me, Grace, what have you learned from your mom about being active?
I have learned that, like what she said, nothing happens overnight. Like when I first started soccer, I wasn't good at it at all, but I really loved doing it. And I kept going there and kept going there, and I kept getting better. And I remember, she might not remember this because I was like, but I remember her saying that nothing happens overnight, don't give up. So I kept going, and I now am pretty good at soccer.
I love that. I think that those are some powerful lessons to keep doing what you love, and it doesn't matter how good you are. If you still love it, keep showing up and working hard. And I think those are good messages for all of us, not just for girls, but for all of us. So this is my last question, and then I'll give you an opportunity to share anything else that's on your mind today. What message do you want to leave for girls, women, or maybe families who are trying to be more active?
Try to set a goal each day. Like, don't try to accomplish something that's really big in one day when you still have other things to do, like school and work and all that. Like, if you want to run 6 miles, don't run 6 miles in the full day, because your body, obviously, your first time doing that, will not like it. Do like individual bits, like a half mile, a mile and a half, stuff like that. And also just finding something that you enjoy doing and being active. Like, if you enjoy tag, do that. And like, if you don't enjoy doing soccer and like tag, do tag, because I think that if you do things that you like to do, it'll make your motivation higher. But if you do stuff that you don't like to do, like if you didn't like soccer, it would decrease your motivation.
And I'll add in to celebrate the small wins. So if you're going out to do 6 miles and you start out at a half a mile, then celebrate on Monday that you did a half a mile and that you finished it, and celebrate on Wednesday that you did a whole mile. So it'll take steps to get to your long-term goal, but celebrate them along the way. And if anything ever becomes something that you absolutely do not enjoy, and you feel like it's something on your to-do list that just doesn't bring joy to your day, find something different, like Grace mentioned about tag. Find something different that you enjoy doing so that you look forward to it. And it makes you feel more like you whenever you're done with that activity.
What else would you like to share with our audience today?
There's not a lot of things, but I think that finding, like, if you like, try to introduce yourself to new things. Like, I played mainly soccer, and I introduced myself, like, in my school, I heard about Girls on the Run. I'm like, hey, I think that might be cool. I'm going to try that. And I ended up loving it. And, I tried gymnastics, and I really like it. So introducing your body to new kind of sports, I think, is a really good way. And if you don't like it, now you know that you won't like it in the future.
So some people might think that's kind of scary to try new things that you've never done before. What would you say to that?
I think that you should try it anyway. Like, if you like it, that's good. If you don't like it, now you know.
Just try it anyway, huh? Don't know until you try. That's right. Anything else you'd like to share, Cheryl?
I think from a mom standpoint, something that I've seen whenever, something that I saw whenever I was running as a student was that some students, some other friends of mine would get burned out pretty easy. And it was because they had so many things going on and so much pressure on them to perform. So something in terms of being a mom is I just want to make sure that she always has fun what she's doing, and that she knows that she's done her best. I don't want her to feel like she has to win absolutely everything, and that if it ever comes to a point where she just doesn't enjoy it, she's not going to be forced to continue. She can pick something else that she enjoys. Because the last thing I would want her to do is get burned out doing something that she originally had fun doing. So, yeah.
I think that message came through loud and clear today, to find something you enjoy and try a lot of things until you find that thing or things, multiple things you enjoy. I hear that you're looking forward to riding horses in the future. Is that true, Grace?
Yes. During quarantine, I fell in love with horses. After everything goes back to normal, and when I do have the opportunity to, I want to have horseback riding lessons.
So it sounds like you're leading by example there in trying some new activities and really being adventurous in your physical activity. Well, I thank you both for joining me today and sharing your love of activity and your role modeling and all of your messages with our audience today.
Thank you, Dee.
Thank you for listening to the Champions of Active Women podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative and the Sports Medicine Research Institute within the College of Health Sciences at the University of Kentucky. This episode was produced by the Faculty Media Depot. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with your social networks, or simply tell a friend about us. If you want to help us sustain the Champions of Active Women podcast, donate to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. For up-to-date information about our initiative, follow us on social media at UKAWHI. Thank you for joining us as we empower all girls and women to become athletes for life.